Hey, Suma.
Hi.
What's up, girl?
Nothing much. Just having a relaxing evening with you,
Okay.
drinking mojito.
Great, drinking mojito. Yeah. Me, alcoholic, you, non-alcoholic. Because we're trying to be a responsible adult, and
I gotta get up at 6 in the morning, so I don't want to risk too much.
Okay. Um, how far back do we go? We go back. Oh my God! I got so much whiskey just now. Oh, oh! I do not like whiskey on its own. No, no, no. All right.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
if you had more space, I would say add more mojito, but there's not really any space in your glass anymore.
Okay. So we go back about 12 years or
Really?
11 years because I was 19 when I came to Belgium.
Oh, you're so young. That's so long ago. I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a decade means
Yeah.
something, and
Oh,
we have known each
yeah.
other that long.
That's
And
crazy.
unfortunately, most of it is empty space because I was away for a long time of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually never asked you, like, was it abrupt when I left for you? Like, did it like seem like I just like left like that?
Um, that's like a difficult question actually. I don't think it was like a while ago, so I need to kind of like try to think back to that period.
Or maybe you're used to
Um,
it because like you like me we both have this history of just like moving from place to place and being
yeah,
third culture kids, so like moving is just like
it was
very
just kind of
normal.
normal. Yeah.
You
I
don't get
don't
like
think
hung
it
up on
like
it.
really like hit me or really yeah. I don't think it was like for me, I don't think I remember it being abrupt or anything like that. So,
Mm-hmm. Well then, okay. Well, this is
but
one
it's
of.
nice to see you again.
Okay, so this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about
Hmm.
because well, we can start at the beginning.
Hmm.
Um, you are originally from India, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any memories of that? Because you left quite young.
Yeah, I have quite a lot of memories. I lived there until I was 4 years old, and I have some memories that are still very, very clear, like they were yesterday, actually. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I have a lot of memories from when I was a kid,
Mhm.
but I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, for instance, but
You're gonna
like,
have to stop slapping that table because remember the phone's on here.
oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I need to like tie my hands up or something,
Okay.
or keep holding the drink.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a very important thing that you were saying, and I like just interrupted. But yeah, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Mm.
Um, I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so you said that you have vivid memories from being 4 years old in India.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of memories from that. I was adopted, and I was adopted when I was about 8 or 9 months. And then I lived with my parents there until I was 4. My dad worked there. He worked for the Belgian consulate there. So while my parents were there, they were thinking they had my brother, who was 9 years old, and well, 8 at the time, and then they wanted to adopt a girl
Mm-hmm.
while they were living there anyway.
Your brother is their biological child.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I've never actually had the courage to ask you this,
Mm-hmm.
just because I always felt, oh, maybe that's rude or intrusive, and maybe you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to think about it. Do you know anything about your biological parents?
No, not at all. Usually they're not allowed to give that information away. Believe things are different now because, for instance, they have this Mother Teresa organization here in Belgium, and I believe they adopt, like for instance, children and babies from India, and then they bring them over here to adopt to Belgian families. The only thing is this organization does require a birth date of the child, maybe where they're from, for instance, where in India, just I guess some basic information But 40 years ago, when I was born, it wasn't the case. So they didn't really have, they would accept children at the foster home, whether there was information about the baby or not. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to like stir the pot or anything, but like, and you can definitely tell me if something is uncomfortable for you, so we can
Mm.
pause and I can reconfigure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have like any kind of emotions, whether neutral or negative, related to the fact that you don't really know like this part of yourselves?
Um, I guess it's quite neutral. I think for a very long time it was kind of, I would just think, well, I don't know, they're strangers, so why should it matter to me? But at the same time, I think getting older, um, I don't know, I think there is a question in the back of my mind, like, well, so who are these people, and what's why was I adopted, or you know what I mean? Like there's just, I'm also a very curious person, and yeah, I don't know. There are questions in life that, would like be interesting if they could be answered.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I have to know the answer. I have to go running after them, or you know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
not like that strong, but there is a curiosity.
I mean, the narrative around people who are adopted in media is usually that they're like desperate to find out their origins because they feel like they're missing a part of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, even though it's not the same, I want to make the comparison anyway. It's also the similar case where people who have single parent families
Mm-hmm.
are meant to see in the media that like they're supposed to be feeling like they're missing a part of them.
Yeah.
For me, I am grateful that I was raised by a single parent, even though it was obviously a detractor for my quality of life in
Mm-hmm.
some ways,
Yeah.
because I know the reason why I was raised by a single parent, and it spared me a lot of hardship that people who are in double parent families would go through and think that they're better for it because at least they're not a single parent family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I think some things it's better to go it alone if you know that the other option is like gonna be trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
So like for that, like I never missed having a dad.
Mm-hmm.
It was not anything abnormal to me because I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing like what I'm getting from you is that like you didn't know anything else, so it's like not something to miss where you're like,
Yeah, no, I think I don't know if I actually. It's a very difficult question because I don't know if miss is the word I would use. I think, like I said, it is curiosity, but then at the same time, I think there are periods in my life where, let me just think about that. I think there have been periods in my life, for instance, some years ago, my mom passed away, and I felt like the family I had isn't there anymore. And I think at that moment in my life, I was more, I don't want to say determined, but I think I needed more answers, or, it was like even more. Because I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go, and I'm like, where's my family? Where do I belong? And then I kind of started looking, or like asking more questions about, like, well, what about them, and in India, and what, you know what I mean, what's happened to that.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you had more means, like, like more financial means, that you would be able to get better answers?
I think if I really wanted to have answers, I could
Like, it's not
go.
like
I
a,
just need to find someone, I think, that.
oh, it's not a financial barrier then.
No.
Okay. Just, I mean, it usually is for
Yeah.
most things. So that's why I was like
I,
wondering.
I think if I really wanted it and I was really ready for it, like, it wouldn't, the financial barrier would, like, it wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't stop me financially.
Hmm.
But it is difficult. It's very confronting, and also, I don't know. It's kind of comes and goes. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
the need to want to know more.
Hmm. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, I
The
can get
curiosity stays, but I
Mhm.
think the need goes away and comes.
that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to India?
Yeah. We went. Me and my parents went back several times actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the last time was uh 12, 13, 12 years ago, I believe, because my mom passed away then. And then me and my dad went, just the two of us, kind of at a like a bonding trip.
Did that bond?
Me and my dad, no, not particularly.
Good attempt.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. So like, okay. So you're born in India. You're with these white people.
Mhm.
Little brown girl, white brother, and then where do you go next?
What do you mean? Where do I go
Where do you go?
next?
Where's your next country after that?
Oh, after India, you mean? Then it was the Philippines.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So I'm learning so much about you.
I know. Finally. No.
I don't know. I'm so incurious. Like I just want to hang out. I don't want to
Yeah.
have like these like in-depth backstories. I just want to
No,
get to the
no, yeah.
friendship part.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
I think it's a like function of moving around as well, where you like just
Yeah.
want to feel like you're best friends already. You don't want to
Yeah.
like get into know you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines for 6 years.
Wow.
We lived in the city. It's like it's the capital. And they had these gated communities, where the more financial people stayed. Financially well.
Yeah, that's like Jamaica as well.
Yeah.
Actually, Philippines and Jamaica has a lot of parallels because Jamaica and Philippines both have a lot of brain drain.
Mm-hmm.
So they have similar economic
Standpoint?
No, maybe
Maybe.
some kind of word.
Something with stand.
Yeah, I'm drinking whiskey, people. And
Maybe.
and yeah, and
That's
also
hilarious.
yeah. So like, okay, this is interesting. So you were in the Philippines, and you were going to like an international school, I assume.
Yeah. It was Manila International School.
Yeah. Oh, so like the international.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your international school experience? Let's compare notes.
Well, I think that's difficult because in each country it was different.
Yeah. Okay.
So in the Philippines, yeah, I really liked it there actually. I just have, I think, mainly good memories of that school. So, yeah. Why are you drooling? What happened to you?
Spills. Okay.
You want me to get him up? It's like drying out here in the hallway.
Okay. So, all right. After the Philippines, what next?
Then it was Norway for 4 years.
Look at you, so fancy.
Oh, I know.
And you can speak Norwegian?
Yeah, like basic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can have a conversation with people. It also depends on their accent and how fast they're speaking and all these things. So.
As usual.
Yeah. So.
Do you know, like with Dutch, for me, like Dutch people can't understand shit. Not really.
Yeah.
But Belgians.
Okay.
Well, West Flemish.
Yeah.
But also
the
hence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
not
dialect
really,
and all the things, they're very different and difficult when you're not, like, if you didn't grow up in that language and you're learning a new language, like it can be really difficult to, for instance, if you go to Belgium and you take the basic Belgian course, the Flemish course, then it's very different than, if you're living here in town and then you're hearing all these Flemish people speaking their dialect and all these words are different than what you're actually learning in class, for instance.
Yeah, the best source of the language will always be the TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or
music.
Maybe the radio.
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Because then they're speaking really plain and
Yeah.
Then you can truly understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you feel about Norway?
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I really loved it. I do feel like it's a home for me, actually. I do go back every once in a while, and I have mainly two families that I am in close contact with, and they're, I don't know, I do feel like they are my family, so yeah.
So like older people who were like knew you as a child?
Yeah, one couple is older, they're my parents' age. So they were friends with my parents. I mean, they still are, but they're kind of like an aunt and uncle for me. So when I go back, I do spend a few nights with them. And then one of my best friends from when I was growing up there was my neighbor, um, and I still have contact with him. I went back some years ago for his wedding. And if I go back, I'll, usually ask if I could stay a night or two, and yeah, so.
That's really handy to have people like that.
Yeah, and if you've
You
known
can
each
couch
other,
surf.
yeah, and if you've known each other, since I was, yeah, I think 11 years old, so I mean, we've known each other for so long now.
Okay, how did you feel, especially back in the day?
Hmm.
How did you feel being brown in a white country like Norway after coming from India and Philippines?
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't have too many problems with that, actually.
No, like
Um,
memories of like otherization or
no, or racism or all those things. No, I didn't really feel like, yeah,
yeah, I have the same experience mostly.
okay.
Because like the only times where I felt othered was when I was doing it to myself. So like for
Mm-hmm.
example, I was at an international school in France
Okay.
after leaving the States,
Mm-hmm.
and like I had braids in my hair,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my braids fell out in the pool, and I
Okay.
was like the only black kid in the school
Yeah.
basically, or in my class or whatever.
Mm,
And I was just like, oh my god, so embarrassing. Like they don't know that my hair is not
can
real.
fall. Yeah.
And so like I was like, oh, it's in the pool and it's just floating. Oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pointing at it and just asking like what it is.
Okay.
They weren't like scandalized.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't embarrassing in a way, but
Mm-hmm.
like I felt
Yeah.
embarrassed because
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, this makes me feel different from
Mm-hmm.
everybody else. And then the other day I was talking with Valentine,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, actually, one of my friends from that same school, whenever she would swim in the pool, she was so blonde that her hair would turn green.
Yeah. 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 I know some people. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
they've had
like,
that.
that must be also embarrassing for her. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one experiencing embarrassments about my body. And
No,
so like
definitely
thinking
not.
that like, oh, I'm black and this makes me different and this makes
Mm-hmm.
me that, it wasn't really that what the experience. It was just like the
Yeah.
experience of having a body, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think I was really otherized.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that you also had the same experience.
Yeah. Um, I think where was that? In the I'm trying to think. Was it No, it was India, I believe. I'm trying to think. It was Philippines or India. It must have been like how old I was at the time. Um, but I went to a school. Well, I mean, I think it was like kindergarten. And I believe, the only dark skinned person there. And I, yeah, I was bullied quite a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was where? In
Because it
India?
was, yeah, I'm trying to think. It was India. It must have been, I'm guessing I was like, what, 4? Yeah, no, yeah, it was definitely India. Now I remember. It was definitely India, but it was because it was kind of a nice, expensive kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
So the only kids that were there were white kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, kids can be cruel and they make fun of anything and everything that's different.
yeah, I didn't have an experience. I was like kind of like the boss bitch at my kindergarten.
Why does that not surprise me? That's hilarious. I can like see you. Hey, listen to me.
Actually, I remember.
Maria's in the building.
I remember actually when I was like very young, there was this Peace Corps volunteer, and he wanted to learn Jamaican dialect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would teach him after school. And I'd be writing on the board and be like, hey, write in your book.
Do your homework. Yeah.
And I was like less than 8 years old.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like you would do that. That's funny.
Okay. So, all right. So yeah, you're moving around, you're doing all these things, you're with these people who are doing like what's it called? Like consulate work, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any idea of what was going on in the political sphere around you? Did that come into conversation with your parents, or was it more like you were just like in your own world kind of thing?
No, I guess I was kind of in my own world. I think it's also because, well, my parents didn't really talk about these things at home, at least not with me or anything like that, and I was never, I have to tell you the truth, like, politics has never interested me whatsoever, even until now.
Yeah.
So it's not something, like, ever, something I thought about, or, you know what I mean? So, never really played a role in my life, really, I feel.
Okay. Do you identify as a global citizen? She's making a really weird expression right now.
I'm good at that. I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess so.
Like, I mean, would you identify as Belgian, for example?
No, not fully.
Yeah. Because there's this concept of like third culture kids, which is basically the idea that like you grow up in different cultures apart from the one that you originally come from, and so for that reason you basically have kind of a global outlook.
Yeah, no, I think then I definitely do.
Yeah, I am. You're welcome. I just identified you.
Thank you.
You can wear a badge now.
You gave me like the answer in life.
You can make up a badge.
Yeah. Make a badge. I want like a pin now, little brooch.
Third culture kids. Actually, it's funny because Valentine is also like somebody who grew up in the ambassador circle. And then my mom is also in these kind of circles as well. She wasn't an ambassador or anything, but like she was in these like circles of like people doing these like high level things where all these like kids who turned to the arts and didn't do shit after our parents worked so hard.
That is weird, actually.
And then we gravitate toward each other.
Yeah, that is strange. I did not think about that before. Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
Wow. You're genius.
Yes, thank you.
You're like, duh. You just knew that now? I mean, come on. It took you long enough.
All right.
That is strange. I don't know. I guess I just never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We tend to find each other, these kinds of people, because we kind of have this like common tongue.
I think we, have kind of the same outlook on life and the world, and
Yeah. Okay. So, where's your favorite place to live?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I like different countries or places that I've lived for different reasons.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, for instance, I loved Norway. I mean, I still do. I love their traditions. I love their culture. They're very kind of humble people. Family is very important. Very, it's just a lot, very kind of tight-knit people, family, everything. And the nature, like the country is just so beautiful.
Sounds like Norway's in the lead.
Oh yeah, in that sense, yes. I also love the language. I don't know, I just seem to connect with Norwegian. And then I lived in the States for 8 years, so that also is home for me. In a different way. I do kind of, I don't know, I feel like the lifestyle kind of worked for me in LA. The only thing I think I would miss if I did go live there now is like in Europe, you have like towns and cities where you can walk around and see stores and nice architecture and all these things. And in LA, like you just have to drive everywhere. Um, and well, obviously the architecture is different and stuff, but I like walking around. I like seeing things and taking pictures and watching people and all these things. So that's very different. But I do love like the climate in LA. The people are a lot more open, a lot more friendly.
Yeah, but they want you to follow their Instagram. That's the only reason why they're being friendly.
You're funny.
It's true though. Like I would.
I don't know. I lived there before Instagram, so.
Well, okay, all right. Maybe it's like the places I was going, but I would go to places in LA and like somebody would be like, "Hey, you're so nice," da, da, da. And I'm like, "Oh, yay, nice friendship," and they're like, "Follow me on Instagram." And like,
Oh,
I
okay.
followed them, and then they were like, "Bye."
Yeah, I don't know you. Yeah. No, I lived there before the whole Instagram thing, so no, and I
But
don't
it's
know.
still a
I
lot of
just
social climbers, though.
yeah, no, yeah, no,
It's still a
definitely.
lot of social climbers.
Yeah.
And everything closes at 2 a.m. Why?
I know.
It's like they're trying to prevent all the
It's so
alcoholics.
weird because you'd always, I think a lot of people think, oh yeah, let's go party in LA or all these things, and you're like, oh, everything closes at 2, but it's, I don't know. I don't get it. Don't ask me.
I think because they want the actors to work, they don't want them to go and get drunk.
Well, they're getting drunk anyway, right?
But they kind of curb it a little bit.
Try to
As much
contain
as
it.
possible.
Try to contain it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do miss LA a lot because I had a lot of met a lot of people there and made a lot of friends, and I love how, one day I could meet someone from Jamaica like you, or I could meet someone from South America, or next day I meet someone from Iceland, and I love the cultural mix there. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a good energy, I think.
Yeah. And there's so much of everything.
And do you know? Okay, so I don't know if you know this about me, but like when it comes to parties, if I'm not DJing, I am so picky. I am so picky. I will
Okay.
get really pissed off that the music isn't good. I will stop dancing. I will go outside.
Okay. I haven't noticed that, but we haven't gone out in a very long time too,
Yeah.
so.
But in LA, there was this one place I would go to party that they would play this thing called LA Beats. It's a very specific genre,
Yeah.
very popular on SoundCloud, and it was always just mwah,
Oh,
just
okay.
perfect. I could stay the whole night.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I loved LA for.
How long were you there?
5 months.
Oh, okay.
Can I tell you the reason why I stayed
Yes.
5 months? So I just came to LA actually as a stopover on the way to Portland. I was supposed to study sound engineering in Portland.
Okay.
And then I read the history of Oregon. And I saw this history of how they had sundown towns where basically like after sundown, if black people were seen walking around, like they could be captured as slaves or like
My God.
treated really badly or something like that.
Yeah.
And it really, really frightened me.
Oh, I can't imagine.
And because I would have to I was gonna like drive with someone from Craigslist to get to Portland. And I was just like, if I would fly, it's fine because I would just like hop from LA to Portland and I would never have to see any of the backwater towns.
Yeah.
But because I was driving, I was afraid like, okay, what if we stop for gas and someone is racist to me? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to experience that. And so I got really scared and I was just like lying to my mom. And if she listens to this podcast, this will be the first time she finds out actually why I didn't go to Portland.
Yeah.
I lied and I said, oh, I found a better program in LA, and of course LA I can like meet more people and do more industry stuff, so it's a better idea for me to do sound engineering here.
Yeah.
But then LA was so expensive that I couldn't afford to do anything but like buy a place to sleep in a decent neighborhood that didn't have like gangbangers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And buy a little bit of food. I wasn't even eating properly.
Yeah.
And that was my 5 months.
Wow.
Like at the beginning of the month when I got money, I would go out and like go to industry type stuff and try to get gigs, not really get gigs. I would, work under the table, producing some music for people and getting better with my skills, but nothing enough to like, be a pop hit.
No, 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 yeah.
And then the rest of the month was just like watching Powerpuff Girls
Okay.
from start to finish. And then I moved on to 30 Rock from start to finish. And, that was just it. Yeah. LA was a weird experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's already also like a weird situation also.
Yeah. And I was lying to my mom for the first time, which
Yeah.
I didn't like.
Yeah, yeah. What year was that? Do you remember?
Probably like 2014, 2015.
Oh, okay.
One
Yeah.
of those. Yeah. So I was 24 or 25.
Yeah.
That's my first time I lied to my mom.
Okay.
I was a good kid until then.
Yeah. Then it went downhill from there.
Exactly. Then I started lying to her about smoking weed, and then she got really upset when she found out. All right. So another one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because I want some tips, I want some insights, right? Dating outside of your culture. Because like I am usually when I'm in Jamaica, the thing is that we have this issue in our society where like we have people dying and we don't know why. We just say crime.
Yeah.
When really it's like war on drugs, legacy slavery issues, legacy Cold War issues, like a lot of legacy issues. And for that reason, like my strategy for survival is just to like keep my head down and work on a way of getting out.
Yeah.
I don't need to date. I don't need to make no friends. I just need to get out.
Yeah.
So whenever I do get out, it's like, oh, I haven't had sex for 6 months. Where the boys at? Okay.
That's so funny.
And then it's like, okay, well, I'm in a different culture. And so there's going to be people who like don't want to deal with that. They want to have somebody who speaks their own language because it's like less work. So all these
Here in Belgium, you mean?
well, just like wherever I would go.
wherever you, yeah.
Like I mean, in the States it's not so much, but like I don't like people from the US. I don't like dating. I don't like dating Anglophones actually. Like
Okay.
UK guys do not like.
Okay.
For the most part,
Yeah.
do not. Oh no, UK guys, no.
Wait, may I ask why?
I just find them to have a really objectifying approach to dating.
Okay.
Where it's like, I got
Explain.
this, I won this, like I got her, like, it's like a competitive kind of thing. And this might be a generalization, and fuck you if you're listening and you think so, but
I'm gonna shut up.
But that's just how I feel. That's what I've seen, and I haven't had any evidence to the contrary. Like I'm doing a dating show, so you're welcome to prove me wrong. It takes €500 to bid on a date with me. So if you're from the UK, bid on a date with me and prove me wrong.
Your line's gonna be like, calling, like off the hook,
But yeah, I just have that like added like this feeling from the UK guys that I've come across. And then in the States it's more like, I don't know, everybody feels like they're in a movie or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I like
Dramatic.
I
guess.
can go for Jamaican guys like more and more often because like I've gotten more into the mindset where it's like, oh no, I should actually live when I'm there. Like I shouldn't just like shut down and just like be like in escape mode. I should be trying to. It's not a bad thing to lay down roots and enjoy the moment while you're there. Because my fear is always like, oh, what if I get attached to someone and then I'm stuck?
Yeah.
That's always the fear. So I said, no, just like, I don't even feel the need to date. So whatever,
Yeah.
But I changed my mind. So Jamaican guys I can get into. Those are the Anglophones. Caribbean guys, yeah. Oh, there's this. Oh, I shouldn't say.
Now I want to know.
No, there's this one guy who like I had a phone call with him. And like we have a strictly platonic relationship.
Okay.
But his accent. Oh my god. It's like this Caribbean accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just imagine him saying, "Come here, baby." Like every time in my head, when I like start getting like a little bit horny for him, I'm like, "Come here, baby."
That's hilarious. But he's never said that.
No.
Ah, damn. That's hilarious. Now I want to hear his accent. You know? Like I want to like,
Yeah, he's got this great voice. All right, so yeah. But all of this to say, how do you feel about dating outside of your culture? Or when you don't really feel like you belong to any one culture in particular anyway. So like
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't really have a culture, I feel, because I'm like a mix of different ones. I do feel like going to different, like, because I've lived in different countries, the, I don't want to say traditions, but I don't want to say way of life. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but for instance, you know, in the States, it's normal quote. You know, like for instance, you meet someone and then you know, you want to go out on a date, and you know what I mean, and then you kind of get to know each other, and then you see if you connect or not, and then if you're gonna be like boyfriend and girlfriend. And I remember when I first moved here to Belgium, I was asking someone, I was like, how do couples get together? Like, because it seems so weird that people go out and then they would be very drunk, and then it was seemed for me, you know, watching other people, that I was like, that's kind of weird. They just met, and then they're going home together and having sex, and that was it. And I was like, well, that's just not how that would work for me, you know?
mm-hmm.
I was like, that's like way too fast. I need time to get to know someone. And I asked someone like, so why, why don't you go on a date then, you know, with someone? And if you're interested, and he's like, Belgians don't date. He said, you only date when you are actually with someone. I was like, so how do you get with someone? You know, I mean, so it didn't seem like a very logical way of, like, I was like, well, don't they get time to know each other? I mean, you know, it seemed so weird. I was like, how the hell does this work? Like, yeah.
And they're always coupled up more or less. So it's
yeah,
like,
and I'm like,
it's a successful system, but
yeah.
you just don't understand how the system works if you're an outsider.
Yeah, exactly. So I just never was part of it.
My observation was that, okay, so you basically get the first one somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the rest of all your relationships ever in your life, you just cheat.
Okay.
And then overlap into the new relationship.
Okay.
So serial monogamy with cheating in between.
Yeah, that's really sad.
That's what I understood from Belgium.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, but it is, what do you call it? Like, I do feel people are less serious about being committed to each other, I guess you could say.
You think so?
Yeah, because they go from one relationship to the other, and like you said, they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perhaps already dating the next person while they're still with, you know?
But don't you think that's kind of a function of the politeness, or politeness on quotes? Because like, it's not politeness if it's like hypocrisy, but politeness where it's like, well, I don't want to have a fight, so instead I will try someone out, and if I like them and if it goes well, then I will finally commit to, like, you know, quitting this one relationship, but not before I have something secure to go to.
Yeah, no, I hate that though.
I think it's so cowardly.
I hate it because it's not...
Sorry, Belgians.
Yeah. I hope there are no Belgians listening. No, I hate that because I feel like it's not fair to the other person that they're with. There's no like open communication of like either, like, I don't know if I like this is if I'm in the right relationship or I've met someone else, or you know what I mean. And I just don't feel like it's clear and fair to the other person.
Yeah, I feel like in my time of dating Europeans, I have always been at the disadvantage because I am a very direct person
Mm-hmm.
in some way or fashion. Like, I won't be rude necessarily, but I'm still gonna be direct, and like, you're gonna understand my
Yeah.
intentions.
Yeah.
You know, like, I communicated some way, whether like just through body language or verbally.
Or facial expressions.
Yeah. So you're gonna know what I mean.
Yeah.
And people don't want to like interrogate that. They just take it as like a rebuff. And then they're
Yeah.
like, well, she doesn't want it, so it's the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also feel like a lot of Belgians, they really beat around the bush. Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Oh, well, I haven't been in Belgium long enough to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they really beat around the bush. Yeah. Which I also prefer that people like say it.
Yeah, actually,
You know, if they're having a problem with someone, but
yeah, you know
or
what?
with something.
But this is a European
then...
thing on a whole, actually.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah,
I haven't.
I think so.
I don't know.
Except
I just
for maybe
experienced
Dutch
it here.
people
That
like
yeah,
that.
they're quite direct, and
Yeah,
and I do
that.
like that. But and the Danish as well. They're very kind of direct. But I mean, like you said, there is a nice way of saying these things. You know, without actually being rude or offensive or you know all these things. So
yeah. Yeah, for me, what I just really can't stand is when you know there's a problem and you know your motivations, you know your reasons, so you know that you can have a decent conversation about it because you know you can like come to an understanding.
Yeah.
But they're never going to raise the problem.
Yeah.
They're just going to talk about you behind your back.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh,
but that's
grow up.
doesn't do any good. You know?
And that's something I couldn't handle in a relationship.
And it doesn't solve a problem. It doesn't solve the issue.
No. I couldn't handle that in a relationship.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah. So that's why... Let's just say that's why I'm single.
Yeah, no, but I totally understand that. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about...
Particular order that you want to talk about it?
Nah, but we'll just like see how it flows.
Okay.
But it's Bailey's time.
1 or 2?
2 ice cubes, please. We're recording again, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting out the ice cubes. I'm taking out the Baileys.
This is what girlfriends are for.
I know.
Drinks, and chats.
Yeah. And laughs.
You shake up the Baileys? I didn't know. You're an expert.
I don't know. I do it anyway. I think I've made a... Oopsie. Oh well. I think I've made it into a habit because there are certain drinks that need to be shaken before you open it. So I end up doing it with everything now.
It would make sense. It would make sense.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
What do we cheers to?
Let's cheers to...
Getting to know our friends better.
Absolutely. Cheers. I'm not sure I'm revealing any gems. Oh, I love Bailey so much.
I know, me too.
This is an advertisement. They should pay us.
I was gonna say I'm not getting paid for this.
This episode is brought to you by Baileys and Mojitos.
Damn good.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about something serious now, even though we're dealing with a fun drink. So, Suma.
Yes, Leah.
You experienced a burnout.
Yes.
And I'm not quite actually sure of the circumstances that brought it about. So maybe we can start there.
Sure. Yeah.
So like, when did it start and what happened?
I believe it was about 2 years ago, when it started, and sometimes it's a little difficult to pinpoint, I guess, where it started, because I think from looking back, it's a accumulation of so many different things in my life, and my life at that moment
Mm-hmm.
that I went into my burnout. Um, yeah, I think it was just a very difficult period for me. I was, um, yeah, working at a do-it-yourself store.
Mm-hmm.
I had a colleague who was a good friend of mine, and he was kind of, yeah, he was in love with me, and he ended up stalking me.
Oh wow, I didn't know this.
Yeah, and so it was just a very difficult time for me because I was like kind of in panic mode, and he lived like around two corners from here, so I would see him when I went out, and when I went to the gym, I would run into him. When I did grocery store, like store everything, to go, I would just run into him, and I would just kind of freeze, and I got more and more, I think, panicked, and yeah, I don't know, it was just like way too much.
Yeah.
And then also during that same period, I went on a date with someone. I fell like madly in love with him. Um, Things were going, yeah, I think we ended up dating for like kind of on and off for like a couple months. But I had never been so in love with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I was so smitten. But then things were going wrong. Like they were just not going as smoothly as I wanted to, and I'm not a very good person at relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like also like went into panic mode when I didn't really hear from him anymore. And then I was already in panic mode from this guy at work that was stalking me. So it was kind of yeah, a mix of different things. During that time, I was also looking for another job because I also felt like, oh, I can't stay here and deal with this person,
Mm-hmm.
for much longer because I had already been putting up with it for like 6 months or something
And
at
that's
that
a
time.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And then I did get another job. It was also like mixed feelings because I loved the job that I was doing, but then I felt like I had to leave because I couldn't deal with the situation anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really feel like I was being supported from my boss, even though I had talked to him openly about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, like, well, if I can't even feel comfortable here, and when you're spending so much time at work, you're spending most of your life at work.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, if I feel so uncomfortable here, away from home, then I couldn't deal with it. I ended up going to this other company, and it was, I believe I worked there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they went into lockdown because of the COVID. Uh, Wait, how long ago was that? I think I'm like,
2020.
was
Yeah.
it?
It started February 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, like 3 years ago then. Yeah, so that's when I went into my burnout actually, when I was working at the company there. I had like 5 bosses. They all were, I don't know, I guess they all wanted to be the boss,
Mm-hmm.
and they all wanted it their way.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I would, get instructions from someone, I got 5 different instructions, ways of doing things. And then it would just be like confusing. I was like, well, he told me to do it this way. And he's like, yeah, but you should do it this way. This is better. And then it would just confuse me even more. And it was so much information that it's also, you know, a lot of information times 5 is impossible to learn,
Mm-hmm.
and to remember as well. And at that point, I went into panic. I went into panic mode, um, and that's when my burnout started.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it did, I think mentally, it was like already
On the way.
piling up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did it manifest then? Like, was it just like a loss of energy or
It started with, yeah, panic attacks.
panic attacks? Yeah.
Yeah, panic attacks. I've never had a panic attack before. I know people were talking about it. I knew, like, for instance, a friend from high school would say, like, oh, I had a panic attack. And even though I never knew what that felt like, I was experiencing a panic attack. And I didn't really know what's going on. And yeah, it was very scary, actually.
Yeah.
And then at a certain time, I got it on my way to work. My work is really close by to a park. And I ended up going to the park and sitting on the bench and just trying to catch my breath and calm down before going to work. And I remember sending a message to one of my bosses saying, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to work today, and I guess he didn't see the message, but then when I calmed down, I did kind of force myself to go to work. And he saw the message when we were both there, and then he kind of confronted me about it, like, what's going on? And I said, I don't know, I'm having just a lot of panic attacks, and I believe the doctor put me home for like 2 weeks. But I was constantly getting messages from my bosses, like, oh, when are you gonna be back? And does it have anything to do with work? And even though I was, I think at that point, not really ready to talk about it because I didn't really have the energy for it, they were constantly, I guess, pushing me, and that kind of nagging, I guess
It
you would
becomes a
say.
bit harassment.
Yeah, exactly. And it just was getting way too much. And
especially from 5 people.
yeah, from 5 people. So it's just, I really felt like I was being backed up into a corner. And, one of the bosses actually took me to one of these little, like, office spaces that he has. And it was really just a table and then this light in my face. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was just not, it doesn't help, you know? And even though I know it wasn't meant,
Like, it wasn't set up in a certain kind of way.
No, it wasn't meant to be, in a negative manner, but I think it just, and yeah, it just felt like that because, like you said, they're with 5, everyone's trying to talk to you.
And that's the time when you need a bit of peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever had a panic attack was when I was in Belgium. As a, like, well, I wasn't a teenager anymore, but I was in my early 20s at university.
Okay.
And I couldn't really understand where it was coming from, but I knew that I just felt like something about my spirit and my energy was being sucked. And of course, like, I have this history of mental illness in my family and depression, so that can lean into it. But I just do know that, like, when I'm in Europe, I get panic attacks. When I'm in Jamaica, I do not.
Wow.
And Jamaica has, like, a crazy murder rate, so I should be getting panic attacks because, like, I could get killed anytime.
Yeah.
Or kidnapped, because, like, people get kidnapped. But I have privilege in Jamaica that prevents me from getting those kind of things happening to me. Whereas in Europe, I don't know, like, what happens, but I've had panic attacks here. I've had depression here. I don't know what it is.
And yet you still come back. I mean, you do like Europe, from what I
no,
hear, or I mean,
the thing is that I am still on the search for the place.
Okay.
I even have a song about it.
Really? Now I want to hear that.
It's actually like an a cappella.
Okay.
So it goes, I do not know where I belong. I'm looking for something. And it just, like, goes around like that. So I still haven't found the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it's going to be. I felt a glimpse of it in Colombia.
Okay.
But Colombia has its problems. But you know what
Well, which
happened?
country doesn't?
Exactly. But I didn't research Colombia when I
No.
went there. I went there with like a tabla rasa,
Mm-hmm.
and I just experienced the place, and it
Mm-hmm.
was glorious.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like when you travel, it's best not to look up all of the like
No.
the dangers and the
No,
this
no,
and
no. I
that,
don't think
because
that's.
as a tourist, you're just
Yeah,
not going to experience it.
I
It's
was gonna
not for
say, as a
you.
tourist, that's not like a typical thing you look for.
It's not going to happen to you. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not relevant, and it's just going to like color your experience where you're just going to be looking out for negatives.
Mm-hmm.
No, like I feel like just dive into it. But yeah, not to detract from what you're saying, but panic and these kind of things, it's when you first experience it, you think you're dying.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's exactly how I felt. Like I was like, I need to sit down and I need to catch my breath and I don't know what's going on and am I dying and so I definitely had that fear. Um, yeah, it's scary.
Do you know, I think on some level it might have to do with the introversion of
Mm-hmm.
the culture here, where it's like when somebody asks you how you're doing, you're not supposed to say how you're actually doing. You're supposed to say,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
okay.
everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. And that's so, I don't know, difficult and not me.
Mm. Yeah, I
Well,
feel.
I mean, I'll say that to people I'm not that close to,
Mhm.
but to my friends, I just say it
Yeah.
how it is.
I mean, the thing with me is that like most of the time it is actually good. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I always give a positive answer,
Yeah, yeah,
because like very few things get to me.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if something is bad, like I'm going to say it
Yeah.
because that's part of the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Just like saying it and then getting feedback
Talking about it
helps
helps.
you to like just like even if somebody doesn't give you answers and they're just like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that sucks,
Yeah.
then you already like think like, actually I could do this, I could do that,
Mm-hmm.
and make
But
it
I think
better.
also just saying it and getting it out helps as
Yeah,
well.
that's true. Yeah, just like
So,
making it an external thing rather than
yeah.
just like this internal bubbling.
Yeah, because often, like, for instance, like, you can, lean on your friends and they don't need to say anything, but it just helps that someone's listening and there
Mm-hmm.
for you.
All right, so what got you through it? You said that you had a lot of support from the social system here or the medical system here.
Yeah, I did. At the time, I was also having a lot of intestinal issues, stomach and intestinal issues. I was very bloated. I was having a lot of, yeah, just a lot of problems and cramps and all these things. And I went to a diet. I had started going to a dietitian just to kind of see, is it something I'm allergic to? Is it something, because and you have these like special diets that you need to cut out all like different types of foods that could, cause bloating and all these things. But so I was starting with that diet.
And then you reintroduce things slowly
Yeah.
to
But
find out
so
what
I
is the
was
thing.
it was like my first week or something that I was trying to cut out all these like special foods. And then I was like going into panic mode, and the dietitian is also a stress and burnout coach,
Mm-hmm.
and she was the one saying like, you are on like empty batteries, you've been running on empty batteries for a long time, you need to be home. And I said, yeah, I think you're right.
Just before you continue,
Mhm.
like because I figure that you're a person who has always worked, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel when you had to not work? Was there some?
Oh, yeah, it was very strange. I felt very guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I felt very guilty that I was like, well, I have like my list at work that I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that was always in the back of my mind. Like, what about my list? What about my work? What about this? And there are these things that you feel like, oh, I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to finish this, or I need to contact this person, or I need to make delivery, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Order this, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did feel guilty, and it was very weird to not have to do it.
And like, did you find yourself not knowing what to do with your time?
No, not at all. Well, um I haven't been bored since I was like 10 years old also. But at that time when you're in a burnout, like I also felt like, I don't know, I was just so tired, like my body was just empty, and
Did you just sleep a lot?
I was in bed most of the time, I think about 80% of the time. And then I would have like maybe some dishes here in the kitchen, and I would think like, okay, I need to do my dishes today. It's starting to, pile up or something. And I remember I would get started on I would finally get up after a couple of hours of just kind of laying around, and I would get up and do my dishes. And then I think about half hour later, or less, I would just be like, oh, I can't finish this. I'm too tired. I have to go lay down again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I'm not sure if I've been depressed or burnt out because there was a period where all I would do is sleep.
Okay.
Like all I had the energy to do was like sleep, eat, go back to sleep, maybe watch something.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
what
sounds.
do you know the difference between depression and burnout?
Well, with my burnout, I wasn't depressed. I was just empty.
Because I don't
Like,
get I don't get sad. I just get tired.
yeah.
That's how my bipolar.
Though that's how I felt.
That's how my bipolar manifests. I don't like
Okay.
get like suicidal or like
No, no, no.
sad about the world or anything like
Yeah.
that or sad about myself. I just don't have the energy to engage.
Yeah. No, I have been depressed before, but I felt like it's totally different
Mm.
because I didn't have the energy to do things. In my mind, I wanted to, do some cleaning and take care of some paperwork and all these things, but I was just so exhausted. No, I didn't have the energy for it. And I wasn't in a negative spiral
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. So I was like mentally, I think I was okay. I think the most difficult part for me is accepting that, okay, okay, I have paperwork to do, I have all this to do, I have this to do, but now I can't do it. Like now I just need to rest and listen to my body
Mm-hmm.
and just accept that that's okay, that I don't do it today.
It is okay.
Yeah.
There is something about our society that tells us that it's not okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it is okay.
It is, yeah, and I never realized it before. I think just because I was always like a busy bee and from one thing to the other, and a perfectionist, which doesn't help either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember.
Well, I interrupted you. Okay, this is unrelated,
Mm-hmm.
but I just kind of maybe I don't even know if this will lift the mood, but it is something I always want to ask.
Shoot.
You studied art.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have regrets about not being able to do art as your living?
Yes and no. I have tried countless times of, trying to do something with my art. It just never, I was never able to make a living out of it. And I wish I did have more time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do wish I had more time for it, but it would be great to earn some money from it too.
I mean, the thing is that like
Because I do like to have something good to eat.
mm-hmm.
I like to get a drink sometimes. I like to hang out with friends. I like to travel, I want to do all these things, which is kind of a luxury. But if you're, I don't, yeah, if you're, you know what I mean, a painter and not making a lot of money, all of that just isn't possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made me make the decision that I did.
I feel like the only way you can really make money from art these days is if you have like a banging social media approach.
Yeah, now, yes, yeah.
Do you feel like you would ever be able to do like social media in that way?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just, I think I'm a little more old school,
Mm-hmm.
because when I grew up, there was no social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's only just came later in my life. And I'm not really like up to date with all these social media things still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a way of getting more popular and stuff. But yeah.
All right. Well, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about was like, okay, so you came out of your burnout, you got back into life, and then recently you found love,
Mm-hmm.
and it was with a friend.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah. So I wanted to know, because I'm on the lookout for love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even doing a video series and a content series
Mm-hmm.
about the concept, just because I feel like I've been single long enough, and also it's shouldn't be like such a challenge. It's not like I'm an impossible person to love, even with my
Not at all.
faults or whatever.
Who
So
doesn't have faults though?
yeah, and I don't think mine are the worst. So
No, not at all.
so um, what would you say are the benefits of falling in love with a friend?
Um, well, I mean, first of all, it wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened. This was an old colleague of mine. We've known each other for I think 8 years, 8 years, something like that. We've been best friends for six of them. We used to, I mean, we still do. But when I first started to be closer friends with him, he was together with someone else. So, we would talk about his relationship, and then I would talk about like the dates that I had, and the people that I met and stuff. So we really shared everything with each other. Um, and it just was always it was just always very fun. Like it was just always such a good like deep conversation with him, but then at the same time like I do like to laugh and make a joke sometimes, and he is also the same, like we kind of play in on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always like a good time when we saw each other and we'd hang out and stuff. So I always looked forward to seeing him and talking to him. um and I think the more that we got to know each other, the more we would tell things to each other, and then we'd be like, "Oh, I'm the same," and "Oh, me too," and and so I think also like the more um, important things in life, like your principles and your you know what I mean, all these things, they were very similar to each other, so that like connected us immediately.
Mm-hmm.
um and then yeah, I don't know, things blossomed
That's nice.
after his relationship ended some years ago. Um, I think the benefits are that you first of all you know each other so well and you're so comfortable with each other already. And I already knew all the positives and negatives that he has, which when you're first like dating someone and meeting someone for the first time, like you still have so much to discover about this person.
Mm-hmm.
And with him, I already knew it. So there was nothing hidden from each other. Everything was so transparent, and that made it easier. I think it made me.
It's less of a like a bet. It's less of a gamble.
It's less of a gamble, but I think it also, like I said, it made me feel comfortable, and I didn't like go into panic mode. If, for instance, I didn't get a message from him, or so in other circumstances I would kind of go into panic mode because I just didn't know. I'm so insecure especially in relationships, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm not comfortable, or like I haven't had a lot of relationships in the past, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I get that. Yeah. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about, because you seem to really know how to do this thing. Um, you've lived all over the place, just like I have, but you have like these strong friendships with
Mhm.
people still.
Yeah.
I do not.
Oh,
I
okay.
fall out of touch because I don't know how to like maintain long distance relationships.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
very difficult for me.
Okay.
Especially because like whenever I'm with someone in person, I don't use my phone. Like I don't like take
I don't usually
pictures.
either. Yeah.
I don't look at my phone, and
Mm.
when I am like I just like I'm in the moment. I'm in the place.
Yeah. No, I am the same though.
Yeah. So how do you
But
maintain long distance friendships?
well, the social media thing that we've been talking about, it definitely helps, you know? No, it definitely has helped because in the beginning it was MySpace. That was like way back when. And then it was like Facebook later on, and it really helped me because I ended up finding a lot of like lost friendships even. Reconnecting with old friends. I think that really helps me because since my friends are all over the world, like it's nice to keep in touch with them because, for instance, this person turned 40 in the States, and at least I can see it on Facebook. Like, oh yeah, he had a party, and this person was there, and this person was there, and ooh, the cake looks good, and you know what I mean? And I still feel like I'm part of their life, even though I wasn't there. And then it's also nice, like for instance, you see pictures passing by. Every once in a while, I'll send like a message, like, "Hey, it sounds like you had a good time. Like, hope everything is good with you." And we try to connect in that way.
Yeah.
With my closer friends, we do call more. I have this app called Marco Polo, which I think is really good, especially if you're trying to keep in contact with friends that are on a different time zone than you. You can just record yourself, either a video or just your voice, for instance, and then leave a voice message after, behind. And then
Is
they
that
can
like
just,
just like a broadcast to everybody who's your friend, or is it just like
no,
to
just to
specific
one
people?
specific person.
Okay.
And so I think that's really easy because I did it a couple days ago with my best friend in the States. Because I had a dream about something, and I was kind of, I guess, like I had been thinking about this for like 2 days, and I was like, God, and this is really bothering me, and it was really just good to say it, like you said, like, well, I think I said it, that it sometimes it just feels good to get it out, and you feel like someone's listening, and she can, when she wakes up in the morning, she can listen to it on her time and then respond to me again.
Nice.
And it's easy because you could just respond when is a good time for you.
Actually, since you mentioned dreams, let's get into some woo shit.
Okay.
Because we have spoken about dreams on more than one occasion.
I'm sure, yeah.
How much do you invest in dreams? Like, how much do you like, how do you view dreams? Like, do you think it's like a manifestation of what's already on your mind, or do you think it's like something that's like really significant and symbolic, or like, how do you view dreams?
I think dreams can be very symbolic and very, for instance, if you're thinking about something unconsciously, it'll still come in your dreams.
Yeah.
So, I do have dreams that are like kind of like a video game, and you're like, what's what is this supposed to mean? I don't, you know what I mean? But I do think there is quite an importance in dreams.
That's cool. Have you ever painted a dream?
Painted a dream?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think.
Maybe you should.
What you mean by that?
No, like,
but I mean, do you mean physically paint?
Like,
no.
with your art. Like, have you manifested your dream into your art?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Because, I mean, I feel like...
But I don't usually... I'm not, like, painting in my dreams.
No.
But, yeah.
If you've, like, painted a dream that you've had.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Are there any of these paintings in this room right now?
No. It was a long time ago, so I did some sketches when I was younger.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see, like, a dream that you paint.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll commission something when I get rich.
Yeah, okay.
Pay your rent.
Yeah, that would be nice, yeah. I don't say no to that.
Okay. Well, Suma, Thank you so much for being on my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. It
All
was a new
right.
experience, but yeah,
Yeah.
getting the hang of it.
All right. Well, maybe you'll come back on next time and we'll get an update on everything.
Yeah,
All
let
right.
me know.
So, another thing that I was very curious about was, I mean, you do have I don't know if I would want to call it unconventional, but certainly a different kind of family dynamic
Hmm.
because you have parents who are not your biological parents, and then the attachment that comes with that or doesn't come with that
Hmm.
is a big determinant of how your life plays out.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if you feel like your family made that bonding process that is necessary to make an adopted child feel like a part of the family
Hmm.
or not.
Okay. That's a deep question.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's invasive or not.
Um, I don't know. I'm just gonna answer it, and we'll see if we keep it in or not. Um, I don't know. I think that's a very difficult question because I think also because, for instance, my parents are from another generation. They're also from a different country. I think Belgians are very, especially like the traditional Belgians families are very closed. They don't talk about their feelings. They don't talk about their thoughts. Not of things are expressed. Not a lot of affection is given, and there's not a lot of physical contact. And I feel like I've always needed it, but I never really got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's difficult because I feel like we don't match up in these types of things.
Okay. So I don't want to like be misrepresented by the question that I asked because especially because it's like a sort of alienating question the way I phrased it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm basing it off of. When I was in Paris growing up, I knew of two families with adopted children.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen is that they would treat them as these fragile, almost charity cases,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, we're never gonna talk too harshly to you because you're an orphan.
Oh,
We're
okay.
never gonna punish you too harshly because you're an orphan.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like that kind of thing. And I don't know if it's like triggering to say it that kind of way, but
No, it wasn't like that at all.
yeah,
At
okay.
least I don't feel like it was.
Okay. So it was always a situation where like they don't have this real true parental, I don't care if you're my child or not
Mm-hmm.
in terms of biology.
Mm-hmm.
You are still my charge.
Mm-hmm.
I still love you.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter. Therefore, I will speak to you however I need to speak to you in order to protect you and raise you as you need to be raised.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is how I feel I would be with my child. I want to adopt. I told you this.
Mm-hmm.
That is how I feel I would be with my child.
Yeah.
I don't see the need to, because for me, I think that life is this absurdity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything can happen to anyone at any time.
Yeah.
I don't think that adoption is just this like tragedy that you have to stretch out through their whole life and make it into the situation where you're like, oh, like I need to make you feel like a special case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are my child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no matter what happened leading up to this point, you are my child.
Mm-hmm.
This is what
Yeah.
has happened.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. But I've never seen that really. So I want to know if like you had the experience where you felt like you were their child and
Yeah.
You weren't otherized.
No, I think looking back, I do feel like I was raised as their child. I don't I need to think about like how I'm gonna word this. I think my parents did the best they could, and yeah, I think that they were like doing the best that they could to raise me in their eyes, but it's difficult when I think not, I don't know. I mean, it's probably just because we have different genes and stuff, but I just had other needs that weren't fulfilled by them.
So your problems weren't based on your like adoption. It was much more just like typical family stuff.
I don't know. I kind of almost like I've thought about this before, and I sometimes wonder if it was like a mismatch.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
But I was always under the impression that you got along really well with your mom.
It was okay. We were not super close, but we never had
Oh,
any arguments or anything like that.
I didn't know that.
But she was very closed. We never talked about like really personal things. She never talked about like her past, her feelings, her thoughts. She would also never ask me about it. And also, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was very shallow
Mm.
when I think about it now because when she passed away, I afterwards I was like, I don't know, I guess people were saying or asking things about her, and I was like, my mom, really? I was like, that's not how I knew her, you know?
You don't know enough about
I
her.
don't feel, yeah, I feel like I'm learning, like I'm getting to know her now that she's passed away
Mm.
from people, like for instance, when in the beginning it was my grandmother and then my aunt, and they are more open people, and they would, more communicative about certain things and about their past and about how my mom was and like different experiences that they had when they were young, and through that I feel like I'm learning, getting to know my mom.
So I'm getting the impression that it was just a personality thing.
I'm guessing, yeah, I guess so.
Because I mean, like I also had the same thing with my mom. Like we honestly like we work and we'll chill,
Mm-hmm.
but just like with everybody else, like I'm not gonna be the person to ask questions. If you're not gonna volunteer information, I'm gonna assume that you want to keep private.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't know all these things about her until COVID happened, and I was just like, wait, people can die. I need
Yeah,
to
I need to know.
I
Yeah, I
need to
need some
know.
questions. Yeah,
Yeah.
answered.
And
Yeah.
I think that that might have happened to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people might actually like feel like really seen when you say that like, oh, until, I realized mortality was a thing, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to know this person who was like my
Yeah.
parent,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, no, it's the same. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, oh, yeah, I don't know. I think I also had like a very kind of strange upbringing when I think about it, because it was very quiet.
Really.
Not a lot of things were said. Like it was not much communication. It was just very basic.
Hmm.
Yeah, not that I had like these long talks with my mom, or you know what I mean, or yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
so
Yeah. And then your dad now, like, I feel like you're even less close to him.
oh yeah, definitely.
But is it something that you guys are working on? Because like you guys only have each other left. Mom's gone, so.
Um, Good question. Yeah, no, me and my dad have never been close. My mom was always kind of, I think when I described my family, like my mom was the cement that holds the bricks together.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the cement is gone, the bricks are still there, but they're separate from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, me and my dad have never really seen eye to eye. It's always never been good enough for him. Um, yeah, and I never really heard anything positive come out of his mouth.
Do you think that
So
these
that,
dynamics contributed to your burnout in some way? Like where it's like
oh
you've been
yeah,
suppressing these feelings for a long
oh
time and
definitely, that all has to do with it because I think because of things not being good enough, I was always a perfectionist.
Mhm.
Um, but that's not always a good thing.
No.
So, I would constantly like push myself further and further, and I was never good enough for myself.
Mm. How do you feel about that now?
Still kind of the same.
No, Suma, you are good enough. Come
Yeah, no,
on.
it's difficult. Like, even though, after the burnout and stuff, like, but I think, I think the only difference is I've accepted it. So, yeah,
I mean, what would make you
it's
feel?
sad, but
What would make
it's,
you feel good enough? Is there a such thing?
um, I don't know. I think it's
Like,
just,
who is your
I think
ideal
it's,
Suma?
I think it's just because, like my whole life, like if your whole life, like every day you hear you're not good enough, then you start to believe it.
Oh,
So will it work the other way around?
if somebody tells you that you're great all the time.
Yeah, well,
I
doesn't
mean,
it lose its effect then?
but I don't know. I feel like, well, I this is what I'm trying to ask you. Like, what
Mm.
would your ideal self be? Like, what would your ideal career and life circumstances be?
You ask some difficult questions,
I'm
woman.
sorry.
No, but that's good. I like it. Because they're not questions that I've had before either. Um, it is difficult because I think these are like kind of, I guess, when you're become 30 or 40 or whatever, I feel like there are certain points in your life where um, when you start to look back at your life, you think, well, I think, man, 40, like, what have I done with my life? Um, and then it is weird, I guess, or strange that, because for a long time I was single as well, and I think I just always thought, like, why am I single? Like, I've been single for forever, and I guess I expected to not be single for so long. When you're younger, you think like, oh yeah, I'll have a boyfriend or I'll be married or blah blah blah. But then I was like, well, so where is he?
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem like it. Just I guess I just thought, yeah, I'll have a boyfriend or I'll have a relationship. I didn't think about like all this hard work that goes into it.
Pause. Back into it.
Yeah, I didn't think about like the all the hard work that goes into it, but then also the trust issues and all these things. You just expect to be in a relationship,
Do you
and have a
think?
house, and and have kids. But I think also growing up, I just never felt like I want to be a mom.
Do you think that like your situation with like the way that your self esteem is impacted by your dad impacted your relationship with men?
Yes, definitely. How could it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe you had like this need for reassurance and attention from men, and
Hmm.
that would like maybe even like impede your ability to like have good relationships because like you come across maybe,
Needy.
yeah, I didn't want
Yeah.
to say it
No, no, you can
because
say it. Like, no, it's true. It's
but I
true.
have the same thing.
I'm not
I have the same
what
thing.
do you call it? I'm not someone who likes attention from everyone, and I'm happy that it just comes from one person. you know? So
But then like one person intensely is what you
yeah,
want.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. I relate to that so much because
Yeah.
like I can't like keep up a whole bunch of conversations with a whole bunch of people, but
Yeah.
when it comes to
Just
dating,
one is enough,
I
you know?
want, but I also want it from the person that I feel like gets me. Like it's like if you
Yeah.
have a lot of attention from someone, but you feel like I don't know if this is gonna pan out,
Mm-hmm.
then it's just kind of sad, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because
But
it's
I mean, it
like
has to go both ways,
it's like
and there has to be a deeper connection.
yeah, yeah. Because like if it's not like this like really like sparkling, you know, connection, then it's just
Baileys?
like yeah. Then it's just like, oh, I'm getting the attention, but it's like it's not even from
It's not,
where I
yeah,
want it
yeah,
from.
of
And it's
course.
just
But then
like
it's totally
why is it
not satisfactory.
exactly? It's like such a
It's not,
shame. Like
yeah.
why is it always just like either I'm the one that's super into it or they're the one
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
super
yeah,
into
yeah.
it? Why can't we both be super into it?
No, I've always had the same, exact same feeling until Thomas. That's the weird thing. I've never had it before that it's like I feel like we both are so attracted to each other and so, you know, looking forward to seeing each other, and you know what I mean? So it's so love, like it's so heartwarming.
Oh God, Suma, you know, when I heard about I was so happy for you.
Aw,
I
thank
was,
you.
and the thing is that like I just don't get this concept of girls being jealous when their friends find love
Yeah, no, I
or
don't
like
get it
get
either.
married or something like that.
Yeah.
Like no, I feel so much joy.
Aw, thank
'Cause-
you. I feel so much joy too, because
'Cause I
I
know,
never
like-
thought it could be this
Oh
way.
my God, I'm getting emotional. What the fuck?
No, it was so surreal for me when we got together, because it was so like easy.
I'm so happy
And
for you.
you'll meet someone like that, like, because I never thought it was possible for me. I kind of thought like, no, there's no one out there that's gonna, you know what I mean? Because I'm you know, moved around a lot, and I come from different cultures, different countries, different languages, different, you know what I mean? And you're thinking like, who is gonna match me? I guess you could say, you know.
Your hope for me, because like that's
No,
my story
it's
too. That's
definitely-
my
it's
story
definitely-
too.
It's
I just hope I don't
yeah.
have to wait until 40. Oh my
Sorry,
God.
yeah, thank
Jesus fuck.
you. Well, for me, it was like better late than never, right? So, but yeah, no, it took 40 years to meet someone.
No, I'm
You know?
expediting the process. I'm like making the whole video series because I'm like, this needs to happen now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Like shit's flooding, shit's like burning. Like, I don't got no time.
No, I totally understand you and your frustrations, because I've been there. I was single for 15 years or something, I think, in between. So yeah, kind of, you know, dating here and there, but not really anything like long term or serious.
Yeah. Well, cheers to futures that will pan out.
Yes.
And thank you
Cheers to
so
that.
much for being on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me,
You're welcome.
even though it's at my place.
Thanks for the Baileys.
Oh, you're welcome. So good.
Sponsored by Baileys. Give us money.